Corps, as you know, is very important to us on the island of Dominica. Inspiration for us, Michael, was this gentleman here.
And who is this gentleman?
That's my father. He served in the British Army in World War II. And all of us were cadets except one brother who was Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme, Lawson that is. And so being a military man, he inspired us. But I'll show you over here. So after independence, the Cadet Corps went into dormancy and really didn't do a whole lot. Just went into dormancy. But here you will see the Dominica Grammar School cadets, and that was the foundation school for the cadets. It started in Dominica in 1910, right here on the wall, at the funeral of Prime Minister Douglas. Let me take care of this nice lady. Miss Staples, how are you?
I'm okay. Mm-hmm.
You can go and have a seat.
How you doing?
I'll be with you shortly. Yes. So, Miss Staples is one of my old dear clients. They came out on December 11th, 2000 at the funeral of Rosie Douglas. And these are the grammar school cadets who just one evening before, the evening of the 10th, I believe, is when at the police training school at Mont Bruce, Rosa, Dominica, they got their uniforms, which had been obtained from the Greek Cypriot army in Cyprus on a trip that I took with Alec Lawrence and Emmanuel Nanton. We were supposed to meet the Prime Minister there, and he didn't make it, and we made good use of our trip and got his uniforms. The Corps had started in Dominica in 1910, and we can go on into the conference room so we can talk a little bit more about that.
Where you going?
Essentially, and you can see that it has animated me to no end to have played a role. I was a cadet at grammar school from 1972 to 1976, and Dominica became independent in 1978, and the Cadet Corps went out of business in a sense, or went dormant. I think there were efforts in the 1990s by the United Workers' Party to restart it. They never passed the legislation. There was no monies budgeted for it, never happened. And when Rosie Douglas came into office in 2000, I mentioned it to him because I mentioned it on a television program with Lennox Linton, which you've, I think, seen, that we needed the Cadet Corps because so many young people were not engaged in productive enterprise, were not engaged in civic endeavor, were getting themselves in trouble. We thought it important to get the cadets back in business. So young people could get leadership training, civic duty orientation, sort of life skills that could help them become productive citizens of Dominica and the wider Caribbean and the world indeed. So essentially, when he came in, he said, sure, let's do it. We got a band set up with the equipment being sent to Dominica, we got the uniforms, but then he died. October 1st, 2000. And I called Pierre Charles, who was now Prime Minister. He had been Deputy Prime Minister and he became Prime Minister. And I said, we need the cadets at the state funeral. And he said, Gabe, they're not uniformed, they have not been trained. I mean, how's that going to happen? And of course, he's very busy because the Prime Minister has just died and they're getting ready for a state funeral. And this is not the time to be talking about a new organization, is it, Mike?
No, of course not.
So, he nonetheless said, look, I really didn't say I can't talk about this right now, but basically he gave me 100 reasons why it shouldn't happen. I went down to Dominica with my dad and Claudette Loeblack, the daughter of E.C. Loeblack, who worked at Marriott, and who had been a female cadet. And with the help of the Dominica Grammar School principal, Alicia Abraham Christian, and then Jacques, she was at that time, got 15 students from the Dominica Grammar School. We had the assistance of Inspector David Andrew, former cadet with me back in the day at the grammar school. He was the commandant of the police training school where the uniforms were located. And Francis Richards, who had been my lieutenant. And we went to the training school, we got the uniforms, gave them out to the kids. Next morning, Claudette LeBlanc and I at the public library got the kids together, gave them some, quick square bashing or training, and they went on to become the honor guard at the State House where Rosie was lying in state, and they were part of the funeral ceremonies at Grand Bay, later at Portsmouth where he was celebrated at the High Mass, and then onto the cemetery. So the Cadet Corps came out on October 11th, 2000 for the first time, and in 2001 January thereabouts, the formal act of Parliament made the Cadet Corps a legal institution, branch of the government of Dominica. And sadly, 3 years later, Pierre Charles, who was another cadet, he had been a cadet corporal, Rosie Douglas had been a cadet sergeant, passed away suddenly of a heart attack, as Rosie had. And the cadets again were there to farewell, or to bid him farewell. And I thought it important to put this little history of the cadet movement, which I believe in the Caribbean started in Barbados. Barbados is the most easterly of the Caribbean islands. So that's where George Washington came to before the Revolutionary War. That's where most of the British people settled. Barbados started its Cadet Corps program in 2004. In 1904, I'm sorry. Barbados in 1904, Dominica in 1910, Trinidad in 1910. So Dominica's Cadet Corps and Trinidad's Cadet Corps are about the oldest cadet programs in the Caribbean. And we have had many illustrious Dominicans, presidents, prime ministers, heads of government departments, captains of industry, professionals, graduate from the cadet program. It's similar to the ROTC program here in the States, but a little different. And we now have about 700 cadets on Dominica. And it's my hope that this little history of the cadets and how it came into being after independence because of the effort of different Dominicans working together, Ackwood, Birmingham, David Andrew, Lieutenants Robinson, the help of Alec Lawrence, who helped us with the uniform gear of the government, of Prime Minister James, which tried to but didn't, Prime Minister Rosie Douglas, Prime Minister Pierre Charles, Prime Minister Skerritt, who assisted its development further. All of those persons, with all the foot soldiers, have to be commended. And also people like Lennox Linton and Matt Pelletier, who, as journalists, also in their own way supported the cadet movement. We're proud of them. And this little tape of the proceedings at Grand Bay, where Pierre Charles, in his last speech to the cadets, because we didn't know it, within 2 months of that speech, he was to pass away. He launched the first ever cadet corps in the history of Grand Bay, at the Grand Bay Secondary School, which is now the Pierre Charles Secondary School. It was named in his honor after he passed away. So we hope you enjoy as we continue to make these little video documentaries about the history, not only of Dominica and its cadet program, but the Tuskegee Airmen and all the other people who add their own meaningful contribution to the onward march of civilization.
We have with us Honorable Baron, who is sitting in for the Honorable Minister of Education, Sports and Youth Affairs, Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt. We have the Commissioner of Police. We are really happy that the Commissioner of Police is here, Commissioner of Police. We have the Chairman of the Dominica Cadet Corps Central Committee, Superintendent Nicholas George, with us. We have the Principal of the Grand Bay Secondary School, Mr. James Alexander. We have the parish priest, the Catholic parish priest here with us, just had the prayer. And we have in our midst, we have our cadets, we have our parents, well-wishers, we have students, and I think we have a few recruits somewhere on the place. Ladies and gentlemen, in my capacity as the Commandant of the Dominica Cadet Corps, I bid you welcome to this graduation ceremony of the Grand Bay Cadet Unit being held this day, October 9th, 2003. Today marks a wonderful day in the history of the youth of the Commonwealth of Dominica. For the first time since the Dominica Cadet Corps program started at the Dominica Grammar School in 1910, we will witness the trooping, or we have just witnessed the trooping of the color, which was bringing in the colors onto what we would normally have had would have been the parade square. And we have the formation of the new unit at the high school outside of the capital, Roseau. First time in the history of the Corps. It is only fitting that at this 25th anniversary of our independence, this event takes place in Granby. As we know, and as our history teaches us, Granby has always been in the forefront of the national independence movement. May it be recorded that this new cadet unit be in the vanguard of a new national patriotic discipline in the education of our youth. In 1910, when the Corps came into being, it was designed to provide a leadership elite to what was then a British colony. As we attained self-government, many former cadets who were trained under the British model, transferred their duty, honor, and loyalty to the land of our birth, Dominica. It was right and proper that they did so. In so doing, we all benefited. It is significant to note that in the present government, no less than 7 ministers are ex-cadets, in addition to the Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Julian Johnson. In the photograph of our Prime Minister, Honorable Pierre Charles, is on your program. There's a big guess who. You just let the cat out of the bag. Guess who? That you're looking at is the photograph of our very own Prime Minister, Honorable Pierre Charles, as he stood a proud St. Mary's Academy cadet in 1971 at a cadet camp in Jamaica. That bears testimony to the fact the Prime Minister was reluctant to allow me to use his photograph, you know. And I thought I had all the history and all the archives of the Dominica Cadet Corps, and I was very, very surprised when I saw the Prime Minister could produce his own photograph. And there is also an addition to that. The Prime Minister, for your benefit, has the certificate of attendance. He has a certificate of attendance of that camp in 1971, Jamaica. At the time it was issued, it was white. The paper is turned brown. That's how much he cherishes that document. Unbelievable. The former President, His Excellency Vernon Shaw, and our very own late Prime Minister, Rosie Douglas, were also members of the Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, no country can go forward without the commitment of its youth. And no young person can provide the wisdom and willpower needed for national development if leadership training is not provided. After 21 years of inactivity, the Cadet Corps was given a new lease of life by Act of Parliament in 2001 to provide leadership training within the strict framework of a paramilitary organization. Dominica is not alone in this phenomenon, as similar organizations exist around the world, from Taiwan to Israel, from France to the United Kingdom, Canada, and the USA. Closer to home, from Barbados to Jamaica, cadets or persons from cadet-type activities can be found at the apex of national leadership. Our country is at the crossroads. Our young people must make a choice or slide back into chaos. Do we build a strong and proud nation? At this time, many young people are led astray by the temptations of drug use, gang violence, and indolence. We need organizations such as the Cadet Corps. And I ask you to applaud those young persons who have made a positive move. They have taken a stand. They have made a commitment. They are preparing themselves to lead our beloved country. They have risen up to play a meaningful role in the building of a better Dominica. Let us support them and once again give them a big, rousing round of applause. The history of the Granby Cadet Unit, as it stands at present, is in its infancy. having been established on January 30th, 2003. Today, 10 months later, 19 students, which include 7 boys and 12 girls, 7 boys and 12 girls, stand before us ready to be formally inducted into the ranks as full-fledged cadets. I wish at this point to make special mention of persons who work tirelessly to make this dream become reality. With the permission of the Commissioner of Police, police officers David Andrew, Dawson Robin, Henry Sango, Joseph Raymond, and Leonard Henderson, ably assisted by, at one time, Chad Coffey, former teacher Tesha Coffey, and I think Mr. Bonnet Henderson, helped at one time or another, and they undertook the rigorous program of training designed to qualify the cadets as being worthy of wearing the much coveted maroon beret. You become a full-fledged cadet when you wear that coveted maroon beret. You got to work hard for it. That's why you see they're not wearing anything now. They're no headdress. They are soon to be inducted into the ranks as full-fledged cadets. Distinguished guests, teachers, and most of all parents gathered here today, your present and continued role in the success of this effort is crucial. Do not let down these young people who have so valiantly taken up the task of nation building. Commit yourself to working with them. And students, I ask you to work with and honor your parents, teachers, and elders where they shed light in places of darkness. Ladies and gentlemen, the cadets from the Rosa unit and the recruits from Grand Bay who stand before you today are indeed those who will enroll in the future in nation building. They will not only be taught, or they will not only learn discipline, which comes from military drill, they will be exposed to the benefits of first aid, water safety, music, civic and drug education, orienteering, fieldcraft, fire safety, basic technical education or technical skills, communication, life skills, computer skills, and the thrill of local and overseas camps, among many other subjects. That's what your sons and daughters will be exposed to. The ultimate objective is to organize similar units in the other secondary schools around the island. There are 15 secondary schools on island, and we are slowly but surely trying to get the cadet program established in all the secondary schools on island. Grand Bay should be very proud that they are among one of the first extension. So Grand Bay can stand very proud to be in the vanguard, the leadership of the other units that are going to, at some point in time, come to fruition. Cadets, remember this. A cadet is a patriot. That is someone who loves Dominica and is loyal to her needs. Someone who will protect our communities and our country from destruction, chaos, lawlessness, and vice. A cadet is studious and respectful of his parents and teachers. A cadet learns sharing. He or she learns to take orders before he or she can give. I will repeat that. A cadet, he or she, learns to take orders before he or she can give. Every cadet knows that. That has been drilled into them from day one. A cadet is kind and helpful to others in need. A cadet, in or out of uniform, must strive to be a shining example to his or her community, someone who is exemplary in conduct. A cadet seeks to be a good student, one who reads widely, seeks out knowledge, and is constantly in preparation for the challenges of life. A cadet is one who enhances the moral quality of our society, one who, by solid grounding in the God-given faith of our ancestors, leads the way, one who is an optimist, a preserver of hope, who protects our community, national environment, and national independence. A cadet is one who works for a better, equitable, and prosperous Commonwealth of Dominica. There are many Dominicans at home in the public and private sectors, as well as those in the diaspora, who have dedicated themselves to the success of this endeavor. To name a few, at home, the government of the Honorable Prime Minister Pierre Charles. We have persons like Superintendent Nicholas George, who is the chairman of the recently appointed Dominica Cadet Corps Central Committee. We have other contributors at home, the National Commercial Bank, the Rosa Cooperative Credit Union, the Dominica Academy of Arts and Sciences, and we have the law firm of Alec Lawrence and Gabriel Christian, one local, one out of state. We had music instructors, Mr. Purcell Christian and Mr. Lloyd Emmanuel, who were helpful to us at one time or another. Closer to home, however, we wish to recognize the contribution from persons like Mr. Ted Alexander, right here in Granby, Mr. Milner Francis, Miss Betty Didier, and the always present and always willing Wyam John Phillip. Please give them a round of applause. At short notice, the Nestle Caribbean Company, HSB Richards and Company, were kind enough to donate items of refreshment, and additionally, not to be left out of the action, our very own Prime Minister consented to do his best, and we will see what that turns out to be at the end of the ceremony. We have in Granby, the Granby Credit Union, Mr. Jerome Leslie, Mr. Philip Abraham, Mr. Peter Gregoire, Miss Stephanie Bellot, and I probably preempted myself. What I had written, it says, and not wishing to be left out of the excitement, our very own Prime Minister and Parliamentary representative for the Granby constituency came forward with a tangible contribution. So once again, let us give everybody a big rousing hand of applause. Cadets, may you abide by this motto: duty, honor, country. Dutiful at all times to God, your family, and country. Do honor to all you serve, and serve honorably in the conduct of your daily lives. And be faithful and loyal to the good for which your country stands. As Commandant of the Dominica Cadet Corps, it gives me great pleasure once again to welcome you, cadets, into a great family and tradition, that of the Dominica Cadet Corps. I know you will serve well, cognizant of the fact that it will be a lifetime of service. For once a cadet, always a cadet. May God bless Waitikubuli Dominica, and may God bless the Dominica Cadet Corps. Thank you. At this point in time on your program, I hope we are running within time. Not quite sure. I haven't keeping check. We have remarks by the principal of the Granby Secondary School, Mr. James Alexander. Mr. Alexander.
Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Pierre Charles, Honorable Mr. Urban Baron, representing the Minister of Education, Chief of Police, Mr. Lestrade, other police officials who are here today, members of the head table, invited guests, students, friends, cadets. Let me first of all congratulate you in reaching the end of your milestone. So when I started with you and the job out, I know that the training has been very rigorous, but you have stood the test unto the end. Let me hope that the level of discipline that you display in the Cadet Corps will be rubbed on our students at the Grand Bay Secondary School. I want to repeat that. I hope in that the level of discipline that you display here will rub on our other students at the Grand Bay Secondary School. Today in our schools, we are faced with all levels of ill discipline. I'm saddened though that among our 19, there is no student from Grand Bay itself, our largest catchment area. And the school will have to take steps to remedy the situation. I myself, I was a cadet, let me say that now. I went to SMA, it was compulsory for a form. And the school will have to take some action to ensure that every child in this school participates in that level of discipline. Thank you very much.
But we have with us the parliamentary representative for the Prince-Savan community constituency, Mr. Barron. He will step forward to the microphone to step in for the minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance and Caribbean Affairs, Mr. Pierre Charles, Commissioner of Police, Mr. Matthias Lestrade, other gazetted officers of the Dominica Police Force, Reverend Father Crastel, Commandant Mr. Francis Richard, Dominica Association of Local Authorities President Mr. Charles Gregoire. I recognize the presence of Mr. Willie Fevrier, instructors, police officers who trained the graduates, the 19 cadet corps who are graduating today from the Grand Bay Secondary School, parents of the graduates and guardians as well, distinguished guests, residents of both Grand Bay and Prince-Savan constituencies, the media, good afternoon to everyone. I do not have a written address, but I think this is an occasion that I will make some remarks. And I must start by saying that I'm very happy to be part of this graduation ceremony this afternoon. And I made some observation, and I'm very pleased and happy for the 19 persons who are graduating here this afternoon. I think they went through some very serious training, and I'm happy to see them standing so proudly and so well disciplined. The Cadet Corps, as we heard from the Commandant, Mr. Francis Richards, was reintroduced here in 2001 in Dominica after, I think, 21 years. And we all know the importance of a disciplined body like the Cadet Corps and what it is worth to Dominica, what is the value. Because we, at every moment, at every occasion, and as we heard the principal of the Grand Bay Secondary School, Mr. Alexander, said that he hoped that this new group, these 19 persons who are graduating today, will assist in instilling discipline at the school. And I will also want to echo that sentiment and to reiterate the words of Mr. Alexander, the principal of the school, that in today's age, in today's world, when we listen to what is happening in Dominica and around the world, we need our young people to be disciplined. Because with the discipline that you have received and the discipline you will continue to receive as members of the Cadet Corps, I can assure you it will help you, it will mold you to become disciplined citizens in the Commonwealth of Dominica, and that you will be able to assist your friends, your neighbors, other young persons like yourself to be able to become mature citizens and to take the right decisions. Without discipline, we cannot go very far. Without having the right attitude, is nothing much we can do. We can have all the wealth, we can have all the academic education, but if we do not have the right attitude and the discipline that we need to go along with it, whether it is in sports, in playing sports, whether it is in the workplace, whether it is in the community among our own people, we as young persons, we as people, we as members of society needs the discipline and the right attitude to be able to move on. I want to applaud you. I want to commend you. But at the same time, I would like other young persons in Grand Bay, in Tetmon, in Bellevue Chopin, in Pilit-Savan, and in Pont-Saint-Jean, and in the entire South, and in the entire country, to become members of the Cadet Corps. Because I believe this is the right organization to be in. If we listen to some of our more senior citizens, if we listen to people, some of our fathers who are 60 and 70, before we used to hear them talk about the scout troops and what scouting has done for a number of people in this country. The right attitudes, the right behaviors that people have benefited from being in scout groups. Today we're not talking about scout troops anymore. We're talking about being members of the Cadet Corps. I think this is the organization I believe young people should be taking keen interest, really, and to be part of. I am not satisfied that only 19 persons are graduating here this afternoon. I know it is not very easy to go through the training and to be graduating, because some people can always fall out. But I think it is a call that every one of you 19 graduates who are there today should go around the various communities to mobilize other young people, to encourage them, and to tell them about the interest, the benefits, the joy that you are having by being a member of the Cadet Corps. I think this is the words that you need to spread around. This is the message you must go and spread around to other young people. Let them be members of this group, so that in a few years from now, that we'll have not only 19, but 100, 200, or 300 persons from the Grand Bay area to be part of that organization. I want to really commend the police officers for having the patience, for having the commitment and the dedication to be able to train you. I think it is a fantastic job that they have been doing, and I believe the police know that with the training that you have received, that you will be able to go around in the various communities and to make the job of the police much easier. Because I'm certain that those of you who are here graduating will not be engaged in some of the very negative activities that some young persons are getting themselves engaged in. So I would like you to be able to move around. When you see other young persons like you, other children of the Granby Secondary School are falling apart and behaving in negative ways and in ways that is not helping them, that will probably put them in trouble, that you can speak to them and tell them this is not the right attitude that they must adopt. With these words, I want to congratulate you once more. I want to commend the Cadet Corps for the very important work that they are doing, and to thank, in particular, the police officers who saw it very important and necessary to give you the help and the assistance that you need to formulate that organization in this on the south, particularly in the Granby and Petersburg area. And before I end, I want to commend in particular the few boys from my constituency and from the Fontaine Fab area that I'm seeing here that took part and that are now graduating. Thank you very much.
The Minister, and before I bring on the Honorable Prime Minister, I want to recognize the presence of the chairman of POID, is Inspector Martin Roy. POID is the Police Organization for Youth Development. It's a sister organization, sister brother, it's co-ed to the cadet program. And we have in our midst the chairman of that organization. And just to slight deviation there, and just to there's one paragraph I left out in my delivery, and it's very important. I want to make special mention of officers Leonard Henderson and Unit Commander Dawson Robin, who gave and continue to give 110% of their off-duty time to ensure the Granby recruits currently are turned out, in the favorite words of our adjutant, Lieutenant Andrew, immaculate, circumspect, and impeccable. With these few words, I would want to welcome to the podium Right Honorable Prime Minister, our very own Pierre Charles. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies and Commandant Francis Richard, Honorable Urban Baron, Parliamentary Representative for the Petersburg Constituency and Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and the Environment, Commissioner of Police, Mr. Matthias Lestrade, Superintendent of Police, Mr. Nicholas George, Parish Priest, Father Crastel, Principal of the Secondary School, Mr. Joseph Alexander, Officer Andrew, Chairman of the Village Council, Mr. Charles Gregoire, Police Inspector Roy, ladies and gentlemen, other distinguished members of the audience, cadets, graduates. It is with pride that I stand before you here to offer a few words of encouragement to you, the young people. I believe that there can be no achievement without dedication and discipline. You are standing here awaiting the final word and the final action to become fully fledged cadets. Before I go further, I want to remind you that you are standing on solid ground, not on Mother Earth, so you cannot afford to fall on this surface. And as I progress in my deliberations, I'll probably touch on a few aspects of cadet life. But for us in the country, it is important that we instill in our young people the means and ways to take hold of your own lives, to become independent. Because very often people tend to rely too much on other people, the things they say, the things they do, when the very people could do it better. But yet, either they suffer through an inferiority complex, or that dependency syndrome has taken hold of them to the extent that they must rely on somebody to do something for them. And I believe that if at all we are thinking about the development of the nation, if we are thinking about trying to develop a generation whereby we can see a turning point in the attitudes of our people, then we believe if we're able to do that, we would have achieved a certain amount of success. But I want to revert to the comment I used a while ago, that there can be no achievement without the application of dedication and also discipline. I know young people love to get involved in shows, anything that is showy and flamboyant. They would like to be seen, they like to be heard. And I do hope that the wearing of the cadet uniform is not another act of being seen and of being heard. I probably cannot repeat the words coming from your commander. He has said it all, what a cadet should be. But sometimes it is important to repeat. Are you going to be cadets only in uniform? Or does the uniform make you a cadet? What makes you a cadet? What is a cadet? Are you going to display discipline only when you're on parade? Or are you going to be an example wherever you are? You might be obedient to the commander, but when you go home, you refuse to obey your parents. So that cannot be one-sided. It cannot be only for the parade grounds. You cannot be showing example only when you're in a camp. And when you're at home, you're showing no example at all. You must be an example in whatever you do and wherever you may be. This is what would make a difference. If you are going to behave like the other young people who have not been exposed to the training that you've been exposed to, then it does not make sense to call yourself a cadet, to come out there and pretend you're a disciplined person, and when you leave those grounds, you're a different person altogether. You cannot be a cadet for you to be called upon in the community over and over again because you're engaged in activities that are not conducive to being a young cadet in a secondary school or in the country. You cannot call yourself a cadet if you go to the disco and you are behaving in an unbecoming way. You cannot be a cadet. If you are going to use the uniform as an advantage and not really taking the opportunity to train others, to lead the way, to set the example. The environment we live in today is very challenging. It is not always easy for young people to react in the way that is expected of them. And therefore, that is why I said dedication and discipline, I think they are key words in the process of your development. Can you sit or stand somewhere and hear somebody abuse you in the worst of ways, and then you're so disciplined that you're not going to respond? But in your training, you will learn that you can be spoken about, but you are not being spoken to. So you have that discipline. In the process, probably you'll pick that up. Nobody can sit there and hear somebody call their name for them not to answer. But nobody's talking to you. They're only talking about you. Discipline can permit you to do that. And in the process of your training, somehow, that will evolve. You're on parade, and the officer probably mentions your name, and you turn around to answer, and the officer will say, look, I'm not talking to you. So shut up. And might come right up to your nose and tell you, shut up. And then you have to be disciplined to stand at attention and take that shot up right in your face. And do not feel aggrieved. Do not feel that you were picked upon. Do not feel that you're being humiliated. It takes discipline to achieve that. It takes discipline to apply yourself in whatever you do and to bring out your best, physically and mentally. Because the whole cadet training is not only about physical training and drills. It's not only how to use the rifle. I know some people love that aspect of it, and especially if you have to go on the shooting range, oh, all glory to them. But it is about leadership. It is about the acquisition of skills. It is trying to make you a whole person, not somebody who is, as we would say in local parlance, in patois, not somebody of a de la mémoire. Can do neither this nor this. You have to be an well-rounded person, and that is what the training is geared towards, so that you become a complete young person in the community. The principal alluded to the high level of discipline, a great challenge that the school has. So you are going to set that example. And you will begin to set the example if you listen, because if you are talking while somebody else is talking, you cannot hear what the person is saying to you. You will only hear yourself, and you will miss part of the message. So that is a beginning of applying discipline to your way of life. And there has to be that change. It might not come overnight. It can be gradual, but you have to be prepared to accept it. You have to be prepared to work towards it. You have to be committed to achieving that level of discipline in your lives. And therefore, as I congratulate you, I want to remind you that you are not an elitist group. You are not super youngsters. You are not magicians. You are human beings who have decided to commit yourselves to the acquisition of skills and to adapt a certain level of discipline in your own lives. And you have to show it, whether you're in mufti, whether you're in uniform, whether you're on the playing field or elsewhere. You have to remember that you were exposed to a level of training that others were not exposed to. And therefore you have to give those who trained you the satisfaction that their efforts were not in vain. Because they will feel depressed and demoralized after months of training, months of sacrificing. Because government has not been able to give the assistance that it should. And therefore, the individuals who have come forward to assist you have been doing it at great sacrifice to themselves and to their families. When they should be spending time with their own children and their families, they are out there trying to shape and model some young people in the community. And therefore, we have to recognize that effort. And you, as young cadets, must show satisfaction that those who have attempted to help you have not done that in vain. And therefore, it's with pride that I can say that we now have a unit in the Granby Secondary School, and we hope that this unit does not remain as a club, an exclusive club where no one else can join. So to the other young people, you should make it a duty to seek entry into the Dominica Cadet Corps, especially the young people in the Granby catchment, to ensure that over the next few months that the ranks of the cadet unit here swells. If it can, I do not want it to explode, but I really want it to grow as much as possible, because the more young people we have being exposed to the training, the better our community will be. The commandant indicated to you the many people who have gone through the Cadet Corps, and they are in respectable positions today. So it helped us. It helped us instill discipline. And one of the things that you must overcome, and I would really like to see a difference, is that late coming disease that exists in the country. That is a disease, that lateness. The training should help you overcome that in a practical way, because we had to be on time when we were cadets. Because if we were late, we were given 4 or 5 rifles across our stretched arms like this to run around the compound until we dropped. They would forget you running around the compound. And you would go until you drop, and you know you're dropping with 5 rifles across your arms. What would happen to you? And therefore, to avoid that, you would be on time. And I believe it has helped me. That is why I have tried my utmost to be on time as much as I possibly can. Because I detest that lateness that some people just wallow in. They love it. If they're early, something will be wrong. And therefore, you have to respect the time of others, especially people who are prompt and people who are punctual. So that will help. And many other things, because I think it's a wonderful thing for young people to be in the Cadet Corps, and also to acquire those skills so that in time we want to measure the difference in attitude. And probably the principal of the school will tell us at some point whether there is any marked change. And I hope the laughter that came from the principal is not one of despondency. It is not one saying no hope. There is hope, and I believe that one of the ways of achieving some of the objectives is through the Dominica Cadet Corps. As a government, we will redouble our efforts to assist. We know that the commandant is doing it on a voluntary basis. He has been using his resources as well as the resources of other officers, and we really want to recognize the contribution that Mr. Richards has done, Mr. Richards and the other members of the unit, that they have done to bring the Cadet Corps where it is today. To the wider community, I want to urge you to respond to the call of the Dominica Cadet Corps so that you can make your contribution to assist the officers in molding the young minds so that we can have a much better community, so that when we are older, we will walk with the confidence that there is respect for the elderly, and there is also respect for the young people and the children. So boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you who have made the event today what it is, and I do hope that your cooperation will continue, does not end today. It must continue. And for those who wish they were standing right there, I want to say to you that today is the turn of the 19. Next time, it will be your turn. Thank you very much.
We have, it's not listed on your program, but there are a couple.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the Commonwealth of Dominica and to the republic for which it stands. My love, my loyalty, and skills in the service of Dominica and my fellow citizens. I promise to work diligently and to help build a prosperous and peaceful nation.
Thank you. May I have your seats, please? Some promotions for the Roseau contingent and a few promotions for the Granby contingent, because we have to ensure there's continuity and the hierarchy and the ranking structure must continue. So I'm going to step down, and the adjutant here, Lieutenant Andrew, is going to call up the persons, Roseau first, for their rank, conferring of rank onto the persons who are so deserving.
You give it to him.
I do not have any silent strikes, so I'm just going to get him the lance corporals.
Okay, all right.
To whom much is given, much is expected, and upon whom the blessing falls at the highest level thus far as full sergeant is no other person than able-bodied lady and woman of the Dominica Cadet Corps, Roseau contingent, Miss Davisia Bastian. She is promoted to the full rank of sergeant. She is already wearing the chevrons and discharging her function with great dignity and pride. So she is now, the rank is now being ratified. Next in order, because we have a hierarchical structure in the Cadet Corps as in the police force and so are the military organization. The next is the acting sergeant, and that is Mr. Baptist G. Roseau contingent. Again, for ratification, he's already wearing the chevrons and discharging the duties and functions of the sergeant. You can see he's also wearing a red sash, which is also part of his decoration in the rank of sergeant. Also in the order, we've got corporal, and that is to Roseau's contingent again, Corporal Robin J. Woman Cadet Robin J. She's promoted to the rank of corporal, and of course the commandant will bestow upon her the requisite decoration to distinguish her from the rest and to show that she possesses the capacity and dignity and versatility above the privates and lance corporal, so that she is, of course, a corporal. Still in Roseau, to corporal, we have Nicholas V, full corporal. And of course, these chevrons must be worn with some dignity and pride, and at all times you must carry yourself with the authority that is afforded you by such decorations. Next level, we're going down to Lance Corporal. The next person is Graham S. Lance Corporal Graham S. Yes, right hand waving. Where your pen? Write it, right one. Yes. Right hand waving. Sorry. The next person is McIntyre C, Lance Corporal. Lance Corporal. Okay. You are required to carry yourself and discharge the duties as Lance Corporal with the power and authority given you by this chevron. Promotion to Lance Corporal Sandy T. To whom much is given, much is expected, and as you're decorated today, is in the rank of Lance Corporal. Moving ahead and coming closer home, not only were these graduates today, but they have also distinguished themselves in that they've displayed and showed that they possess the capacity and the aptitude for leadership. And as such, in recognition for their hard work and to set them off on the stage for leadership, we have bestowed corporal rank and to act sergeant at the same time, Lavenier C, the first from Grand Bay contingent. She is given her official confirmed corporal rank, but she is at the same time acting sergeant with immediate effect. I hope that many more men can fall into that category, as we see from the contingent that we had some more women than men. We're hoping that we can improve that. Promotion to Lance Corporal Stuart M. It's always a pleasure to decorate cadets because it is said that reward sweetens labor, and the reward for hard work is harder work. So even as you're given these chevrons as Lance Corporal, we expect harder work from you so that you can climb the ladder of success. Lance Corporal Henry C. Well, you have already demonstrated that your gender is no setback to your progress, so continue working hard as you climb the ladder of success. And last but by no means least in the promotion list is Miss Merrifield to Lance Corporal. hard work does not stop here. This is only the first step of climbing the ladder of success. We need to see you continue to go up with additional chevrons. The sky is your limit. I said it was last, but it was penultimate, and this one is the last one. Vincent Nelson is the last one to Lance Corporal. As these chevrons are pinned onto your shoulder, we trust that you will take on the mantle of leadership and the responsibility that is bestowed upon you at this stage, that you will discharge your function and duties with great devotion, and much will emulate you. Let's put our hands together finally for all those who got promoted. And let me thank the commandant greatly for discharging that duty, acting in his capacity as commandant. At this stage, I need to inform you we have a very special presentation. As it said, to whom much is given, much is expected. And of course, there are always surprises. And I'm going to call Mr. Let me take that again. I have to be careful with my words now. I'm going to ask a gentleman who's been very, very supportive, a man who just said a word, and it was always his dream to actually see the Cadet Corps program develop here. It's the principal, a man you well know, and a man you love, I'm sure, and we have great confidence in. I'm going to ask him. Oh, we have, okay. Well, he has delegated the responsibility to a parent to carry out that duty. A teacher, thank you very much. The principal have delegated the responsibility to a teacher to make that presentation to the chief instructor and, of course, commandant of that particular unit, Grand Bay unit, Mr. Robin, acting second lieutenant. It would appear, while this is taking place,
units and the other individuals who brought this unit to fruition, especially Corporal Henry Sambo, Corporal Leonard Henderson, and Instructor Dawson Robbie. And in so doing, I would like to present, as a member of staff, a food basket from the Grand Bay Secondary School. You want to thank you very much.
And right at this time, wow. Well, the commandant did tell you that what you saw with the oneness in which they carry out the drill movements from within here, that was just a step or a drop of water in the ocean. The real thing is out there. The rain have now subsided, and I need to inform you, we are to make our journey out there as they're going to march past in slow and quick time, and the Honorable Prime Minister will take the salute.
You've seen this video documentary of the Dominica Cadet Corps. For those of you who are interested, you can always volunteer with a youth organization in your neighborhood, Boy Scouts, Girl Guides, or in Dominica, the Cadets. It's not enough to criticize young people. That's easy. Anybody can criticize. But it's more important to make a contribution to young people at school or in youth organizations, student organizations. So through the Dominica Academy of Arts and Sciences, of which I'm part, you can go online and become a member and pick a particular area of endeavor that you would like to volunteer your time and service to, because really, like the cadets are taught, service to others is the rent we pay for space and mothership earth. Service is very important.
Well, the Dominica Cadet Corps, as I mentioned a long time ago, was established in 1910. The development benefits it would be manifest by the persons who have gone before me. What I'm now doing is carrying the flag of my predecessors. And to the extent I mentioned earlier in my deliberations, that no less than 7 ministers of government can claim to be ex-cadets. The development benefits for the cadets and for the young people in Dominica are tremendous. The Cadet Corps is designed to instill a certain level of discipline. Discipline tried, tested and proven, discipline through the military style of imparting the knowledge. As far as the country is going to benefit, I just to echo the words of the Prime Minister, hopefully one of the major benefits or the singular benefits that will come out of the program is the fact that persons will learn to attend functions on time. Punctuality, if nothing else, hopefully the Cadet Corps will teach the young people to attend functions on time. First benefit. Well, what I want to say to the young persons in Grand Bay and in Dominica in general, in Grand Bay in particular, we have the graduation consisted of about 19 cadets. Of the 19 cadets, there were about 17 ladies in that unit. So as far as the gentlemen, the young boys in Grand Bay is concerned, I think we need to put out a clarion call to our youth in particular and our boys specifically, to come forward, step up to the plate. There's work to be done in the country. The ladies are doing what they have to do, and unfortunately we can't say the same for our boys. We are encouraging the young boys to come forward and to be the backbone, the persons who will carry this country into the next millennium.
Well, first of all, the students who graduated today, they are going to be better citizens of the Commonwealth of Dominica. The level of discipline that is given, as of course we teach them drill theory and drill practical. And one of the aims of drill, or some of the aims of drill, is to produce an individual who is proud, alert, and obedient, and it forms the basis of teamwork. So teamwork or team spirit is inculcated into the students, and also the main one which we lack in the society, which we hope will improve the standard of discipline in the society, is obedience. The drills part of it that they were taught is to make them obedient and to let them learn how to work together with each other as a team. So as individuals, they're going to benefit that way. And if that is permeate every strata of the society as a whole will definitely benefit in being more disciplined and learning to work with each other in the team spirit. What I would want to say to the young men and women of Grand Bay is give yourself some more and join the Dominica Cadet Corps. That is the best way to go. And if we do that, we will help to develop ourselves and develop Dominica as a whole.
Well, the Cadet Corps has developed me because it has brought my self-confidence. It has brought my self-confidence, and it has implemented a level of discipline within me, and to help me bypass the petty talks of side watchers. Also, today I have been promoted to another level, that is corporal, and I am very proud of myself. Thank you.
The best advice I would give to the young people in the South is that they should join a positive group, especially being a cadet corps. And being a cadet, you can surely become a disciplinarian.
The advice I'll give to the young people of Granby is that being a cadet is fun. It's being part of a youth organization. It's a paramilitary organization. You should, not because you see the officers shouting against after some students to learn the drills, you should think that it's not good or it's bad. It's just part of it's fun. It's part of being fun of it. So therefore, it's fun being a cadet.
Well, I wish to congratulate the school and the cadet authorities for having established this cadet corps here in Granby. I think it's a very good organization to develop leadership among the youth. I would like generally to encourage more students of the school to join this corps and participate in this movement. And I think it would redound to the development of character and discipline among the youth in this community.
I want to take a moment to pay particular tribute to not only the Dominica Academy of Arts and Sciences and the people who helped, like Dr. Shillingford and others and Raglan Revere, to support the cadet program, but also to pay tribute to one gentleman who was very dedicated, Francis Richards. Major, I call him. Major Francis Richards was a commandant who took the cadet corps along with his partners like Andrew and Robin and others to its modern manifestation. We got help from Barbados. Major Patrick Skeet from Barbados helped a lot. But Major Francis Richard engaged in prodigious effort, and that's why I tell people every one of us can make a contribution. Of course, we make better contributions when we work in a team environment, because that's what the Cadet Corps taught me, the importance of teamwork, working with others. But Major Francis Richards was very, very passionate, very dynamic, and there's a time when, back in '97, he actually called me in a program and asked about the Cadet Corps. But, you know, I really want to, in all of this, be a tribute to him. Thanks.